on the side of him, he fell down and he got shook. And I just stood on top of him, grabbed him. And next thing you know, NYPD was there.
Okay, so that situation happened. And then a bit after that, in Atlanta, Suge's best friend, Big Jake, gets killed in a club. And this part's kind of fuzzy, but there was a rumor that Wolf was the one that did it. Puffy got blamed for it, and so forth. But I guess Wolf wasn't the one who did it, but still there was some sort of blame that Suge had on Bad Boy over that situation, right?
I don't know if Suge had blamed Bad Boy for that, because the situation never came, when I got with him, the situation never came to us like that. Now, I've heard Wolf talk about it, and Wolf told me personally that he didn't do it. And I know everybody knew the guy who did it. It was this dude, he's dead now. He got killed in Atlanta about 2 or 3 years ago. His father was from the Bronx and he owned the cleaners. Now, did Wolf and them know him? Yeah, they probably knew him. He was from the Bronx, his part of town. His father owned the cleaners. They knew this guy. You understand? Him and Jake was arguing over this chick or whatever. Now, did Wolf do it? How could Wolf do it when he was next to Suge? He was right next to Suge when Jake got killed. But everybody want to say Wolf did it because that glamorized the situation.
Right. Okay. And then after that, Wolf actually reached out to you and asked you to come back to Bad Boy and help out with security.
Well, I told Wolf he had to straighten out his thing with Slick. We met on 125th Street, me, Slick, Rico, and Wolf. Him and Slick talked and everything, and it was cool and everything. So he said, yo, Gene, I need you to come because we need somebody who was in law enforcement or legal that could carry a gun and everything to be with us. He said, and if you ran after me, and this was his own words, because I didn't see it and I didn't know it at the time. You know, he said, if you ran after me and I had a gun in my hand, I want you on my team. I said, I don't fuck with Puff like that, bro. He said, from the city college here, he said, yo, you're gonna have your own contract. You're gonna have your own days. All you gotta do is listen to me and make sure he good. I said, all right, man, we'll see. And that's when I went back.
Okay, so you joined the security team at Bad Boy with your own contract.
Right.
And Wolf was already over there, and Big Paul was over there as well.
Paul, yeah.
Yeah, Paulie. And Paulie was kind of Puffy's everyday guy?
Yeah, Paul was the guy who Puff helped him set up a security company, had him set up a security company. So he did the security at the house, the apartment building or whatever, and Sean John, and over at Bad Boy and the studios. So he set up all the security for those places.
Won't believe this, but it seems Shud Diddy Cole's past keeps coming back to haunt him. And this time it's not just about his music. His former head of security, Roger Bonds, has spilled some jaw-dropping tea about Diddy's encounters with Suge Knight that'll make you rethink everything you thought you knew about the hip-hop mogul.
It was Puff.
Okay, and I guess every so often, Puffy will put you with Big during certain events and so forth, right?
Well, like if we was on stage or Big was on stage, he felt threatened for Big, I guess. He said, yo, Gene, go watch Big. I said, all right, cool. It wouldn't matter.
Okay, so you doing some work for Biggie, did the two of you kind of form a relationship?
I think me and Big we formed a relationship on 2 occasions. One, when we was in DC doing Howard University. He made Puff shut the door down, and the people shut the door down, and it was D-Rock. I think D-Rock birthday is the 17th, mine is the 16th of October, and he made him shut down the place, and just me and D-Rock could buy like 5 outfits together, and then everybody else bought an outfit. And then Big used to just give me all the clothes that he didn't want. Like, you know, you had Nike, Lugs, you had Mecca clothing line. They would bring big boxes to Big everywhere we was at. And then he was like, yo, whatever he didn't want, he'd say, yo, D-Rock, you want this? D-Rock was like, nah, I don't want it. He said, yo, Big Gene, you want it? And then I was like, man, I'll take it and give it to the guys on the block, you know, who was with part of our crew or whatever. But the kid was just good like that. And then we had a situation when we were in Atlanta that something was bought, and he thought I was gonna lie about it because Puff was trying to say it was his, and it wasn't his, it was Big's. And you understand? And when he said, and they had made a bet that I was gonna go on Puff's side. So when I got to the studio, I said, nah, Puff, you had that one, and Big had that one. And that's what it was. And Big looked at me, and you could see a smile on his face like, yo, this nigga's honorable.
Okay. And before all the drama began, did Tupac ever come around? Did you ever see Big and Tupac interact together?
No, I never seen Big and Tupac interact together. I seen Puff and Pac interact together, but I didn't see
really?
Big, yeah.
In what capacity?
Like we was at Roxy. They used to give functions and parties there. And then one time me and Puff walked up in there. It was, this was after Pac got shot and everything like that. And it was Pac and like 4 other guys. And Pac put a cigarette in his mouth. The dude lit the cigarette. I started laughing. I was like, who the fuck like a cigarette for? Like that. So then him and Puff talked, and that was it. Was nothing.
Okay, and then the incident happened at Quad Studios.
This was after the incident at Quad, when I seen Pac with Puff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So imagine this, it's 2010. Diddy, the face of Bad Boy Records, is living his life as usual, late night, burger cravings, luxury cars, and an entourage that makes you think he's untouchable. But behind the flashy image, there's a story that shows just how vulnerable even the biggest stars can be. According to Bonds, one night Diddy's craving for a burger led to an unexpected intense moment with none other than Suge Knight, the infamous CEO of Death Row Records.
Diddy Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called Hell on Earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible place.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
How's your dad doing? How's your dad doing?
Family members appeared somber as they arrived at federal court in Manhattan today in another attempt to get out on bail. The judge cited Diddy's history of violent temper and potential intimidation of witnesses as reasons for keeping him behind bars. Diddy's former protege, singer Aubrey O'Day, is celebrating Diddy's downfall today. I feel validated, a win for women all over the world.
Combs has pled not guilty.
Now let's set the scene. It's late at night and Diddy sends his assistant David along with a security guard named Deke to pick up some takeout from Mel's Drive and Diner in Los Angeles. Seems innocent enough, right? But as fate would have it, SU Knight pulls up in his car at the same time. This wasn't just any random encounter. This was 2 titans of the hip-hop world known for their rocky history suddenly in the same place.
Diddy Combs back in a New York City courtroom, we believe right about now, as he tries to appeal a judge's ruling, which denied him bail and sent him to jail as he awaits trial in the explosive sex trafficking and racketeering case against him. Prosecutors describe a large criminal ring orchestrated by Combs to sexually abuse dozens of women. drugging them, beating them, and recording sexual acts for at least 15 years. The move from the judge to hold the musician mogul in jail before his trial comes as prosecutors argue Combs, his massive wealth, makes him a flight risk. And they're also accusing him of witness tampering, trying to keep both them, witnesses, and his victims silent. Combs' team offered a $50 million bond agreement, with his attorney claiming Combs is, in his words, eminently trustworthy. The judge didn't buy it. It is a stunning fall from the height of pop culture. Combs, however, is pleading not guilty and has denied any wrongdoing. Let's bring in NBC's Chloe Malas for more. And Chloe, there are no phones, no electronics allowed in court.
We actually have breaking news. We have some breaking news right now. According to NBC News, just moments ago, I am reading off my phone right now. Sean Diddy Combs will not be released, and this is per the district attorney's office. So let me explain and silence my phone and break down what exactly that means, or else my kids will call me during this entire segment. So this basically means, Tom, that now Sean Diddy Combs sits behind bars until this potentially goes to trial. Why do I say potentially? Even though his attorney, Mark Agnifilo, spoke to CNN last night and said that it is very unlikely that he would accept any sort of a plea deal. And we don't even know if a plea deal would even be on the table with these very extreme criminal charges of racketeering, transportation when it comes to prostitution and sex trafficking. We do know that this could be potentially a year behind bars. I was talking to NBC's legal analyst and correspondent Laura Jarrett earlier today. And, you know, there's so many motions and, so much discovery to do, as you know, and you've covered things like this, I'm sure, that it takes a while to get ready for a big criminal trial like this when there's so many charges and so many different grand jury subpoenas and things like that. So currently, though, he is in jail. And that's what it is. Everybody asks me the difference between jail and prison. You go to prison after you've been found guilty. Right now, he's in jail, and he's in jail in Brooklyn. And this is one of the main issues that his legal team had, was that this detention center in Brooklyn has seen suicides. It saw somebody get killed over the summer, food contamination, overcrowding, and they listed all of this in their filing to the judge, but clearly this federal judge was not persuaded, Tom. And so now that's it. He stays behind bars while he waits to have this tried in court.
Bond claims that when Drock stepped out of the car, so he did too. And just like in a scene from a movie, the two men were face to face exchanging tense words. Tech, realizing the gravity of the situation, called Diddy to let him know what was happening. That's when things took a dramatic turn. A celebrity.
A celebrity, that's an understatement. He is an icon. And what are the chances that he gets any sort of preferential or royal treatment in the jail, or given the charges that are so significant and serious against him, is he going to be treated like any other inmate?
That's incredibly hard to say, right? When you see, and I don't want to generalize here, but when you do see, let's say, accusations against minors, which we don't see in this indictment. You can sometimes see some of these high-profile alleged criminals maybe put into solitary confinement. Will he be treated like any other inmate while he's in this detention center in Brooklyn? It's sort of left to be seen. I think that over the coming weeks, we'll see what happens and what types of motions that his team files, if they feel as though he is under immediate threat, or if he gets, beat up in prison or in jail. See, I made that mistake. If he gets beat up in jail, or if something like that happens, I guess maybe always things could change. I mean, look at Harvey Weinstein, for example. Not that I want to compare the two, but Harvey Weinstein has been been treated in a medical ward because he has all of these medical issues, right? And so the judge had decided even today that he can still stay in the medical ward. So again, I think it's a case-by-case basis, and we have to see how this all plays out. But let's just put it this way. Sean Diddy Combs is a billionaire. He achieved billionaire status in 2022. He is not going to be happy, Tom, being in jail. And this is a far cry from his multi-million-dollar homes all across this country. So obviously it's a huge fall from grace for somebody that was such a pioneer in the music industry.
Yeah, but to your point, Chloe, if it were you or me, not suggesting either one of us would ever face these kinds of charges, but there is no way we'd be out on on bail or bond, right? I mean, these are incredibly serious charges that could land him in prison for years and years and years, and they involve violence.
According to Bonds, Diddy didn't hesitate. He gathered up the thing that he had to gather up and drove his black Cadillac to the diner. Can you imagine? Here's Diddy, a man with millions at stake, heading straight into what could have been a dangerous confrontation. But before things could escalate, Drock convinced him to turn around and head back home, talk about a close call.
You are a potential defendant in one of these cases and someone suing you. Would they typically require a non-disclosure agreement to be signed once they settle it with the plaintiff or the victim in this case?
You know, if I was an attorney representing one of these individuals accused, I would certainly request for that before agreeing to any out-of-court settlement. Otherwise, it kind of takes away the point of doing it out of court. It's going to end up being public. I might as well continue to fight the allegations.
And sometimes, Catherine, when you're a victim in human trafficking or sex crimes like this, money can't always satisfy you. And do you foresee any of these individuals, whether it's men or women, coming forward later, even though they've signed the NDA, even though they've been paid, saying, look, it was me and this is who did it?
Well, after you get paid,
Right.
okay, and you done spent that money, and then you got to take care of the I, the R, and the S, who are real pimps, then they're going to talk. You know, what's done in the dark comes to the light. And who? I know you don't have a 50-foot bed in your backyard, do you?
Don't assume too much.
I'm just trying to tell you. But it's interesting because I was, you know, I've been following it, and today on TMZ, you know, it was stated that a celebrity that's bigger than P. Diddy,
This story doesn't just stop there, though. Bonds also brought up another instance where Diddy and Suge reportedly crossed paths, this time at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Surprisingly, the two decided to keep things civil, exchanged numbers, and even discussed Suge's youth football outreach program. Who would have thought these two could sit down and have a conversation like that?
His request for bail a second time, and the place where he's locked up now getting a lot of attention. The Metropolitan Detention Center, the only federal jail in New York City, is known for violence, poor conditions, and a string of celebrity detainees. And Diddy's attorneys want him out. NBC News' Yasmin Youssian has more.
From his $48 million Miami mansion to hell on earth where chaos reigns. Just some of the words used to describe the Metropolitan Detention Center where Sean Diddy Combs is now being held without bail after pleading not guilty to sex trafficking and racketeering charges.
Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
He is not the first high-profile inmate to pass through these walls. Ghislaine Maxwell, R. Kelly, Pharma Bro, Martin Shkreli, and crypto fraudster Sam Bankman-Fried, all as they waited for their federal criminal trials, called this jail home. But the conditions of the prison are far from homey, notoriously described as, quote, dreadful, as one judge put it. Some on the bench have even moved away from sending nonviolent defendants there. In April, a group of detainees that prosecutors said were MS-13 gang members in court documents stabbed an inmate 44 times in an attack caught on camera. 2 shivs were recovered from the attack. You see them here. The victim survived. And in the last 3 years alone, 4 inmates have died by suicide. And violence is not the only issue. Accusations of medical neglect, staffing shortages, smuggling of drugs, some allegedly facilitated by employees. At least 6 staff members charged with crimes in the last 5 years, according to the AP. Some accused of accepting bribes and providing contraband.
I've had clients describe NBC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
Lance A. Clark is a federal defense attorney who's been there many times.
Now, if the government is going...
But don't let this moment of peace fool you. The tension between Diddy and Sue has been a recurring theme in hip-hop history. Bonds' revelations come amid even more explosive claims. Sometimes this just called be like, yo, what's the word out there, man? Everything good, like, yeah, you know, I'm GNA, come home soon, it's all good, blah. Sometimes it's never so, that I thought was a little bit thin. Obviously, they're trying to keep him in jail. Him putting money on other people's books. Yeah, he's a rich guy. He wants to have his privileges, right? Now this whole thing of him trying trying to blackmail people. And I hate to even cuz it's some people going to be like, oh no, he's getting Diddy's back. No one getting I'm defending someone who is, and this could be anybody who's locked up and using whatever he can to his advantage to try to get things looking better for himself before he goes to trial, yeah. But some of the stuff is illegal. You can't use, you can't. It doesn't matter if everyone else does it. For everyone else, there'll be a slap on the wrist. Everyone knows this is a big fish, no slaps on the wrist. When it comes to Diddy, they're going to prosecute. So what do you think? Do these revelations change how you see Diddy and Suge Knight? Do they add to the mystique of their legendary feud? Or do they make them seem more like ordinary people caught in extraordinary circumstances? One thing's for sure, the story of Diddy and Suge Knight is far from over, and we likely hear more twists and turns in the years to come. And thanks for watching Celebrity Spill, guys.